Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. So it occurred to me the other day that we've got some loose ends hanging around the shop. Man, can y'all relate to that? You got some projects just hanging around that just never seem to get finished? Well, that's kind of what we got going on here. Sometimes paying jobs will show up and then your personal stuff gets kind of pushed over in the corner, and well, we're going to get back on it. That's what we're doing today. So I've got a 1970 GMC half-ton pickup. We've had the engine and transmission out of this thing. We've got it all put back together now. Today we're going to do a little front end work because I want this thing to be ready to drive down the road very soon. So let's get that knocked out. After that, I've got a little bit of a surprise for some of y'all. I know a lot of you guys are really interested in that 1959 Dodge Coronet. We stripped that thing down to bare metal, repainted it its original colors, and then we just left it. We never put it back together. So let's get in there and let's put that thing back together and get it ready to run down the road as well. Let's see what parts we got. We got new bump stops. I don't even know why those are in there. Don't really need them, but we'll throw them on there. We got some inner and outer tie rod ends. We've got upper and lower ball joints. We've got a pitman arm and an idler arm. I think I've got some control arm shafts in here too. Oh yeah, here they are. Yeah, these guys right here. That ought to keep us busy this morning. Let's get started. Yeah, she still got them old drum brakes. They work good though. We're gonna have to get in here and do a bunch of cleaning. I mean, we gotta chisel these parts out of here. They're covered up with so much grease and grime and dirt and all that. So we'll clean all this up as we go, and we'll spray paint it, make it look nice as we put it all back together. I don't want to put it back together all dirty like this. So this may take a while, but we'll get it. Alrighty, we got all of our threads cleaned up. Let's go through and hose it all down. Some good old-fashioned WD-40. How about that? Oh yeah, we're gonna have to pull the shock off of here too, so let's hose it down as well. In fact, I think I'm gonna go ahead and take this shock off right now, get it on out of the way. Get this top bolt off. Yeah, that was in there. Yeah, I think we got our money's worth out of this shock. What do y'all think? Yeah, it doesn't even spring back at all. Yeah, you're gonna have to pardon the lighting for a minute. All my lights are on the charger at the moment. So bear with me here. It'll get better, okay? It'll get better. Well, as you could probably tell, that didn't work out too good. Rounded the whole dang nut off of there. Had to switch over, get a bigger hammer. Got my fork out. Let's see if we could get this to separate. Oh, cool. That one actually came loose, unlike the last one. Nothing like getting 2 bolts into a project and already got to break out the grinder. Try not to talk and bang the hammer at the same time because I have to go back and adjust the sound, turn the sound down for the hammer, you know, because anytime I use a tool, you know, whether it's a power tool or something that's banging real loud, I have to go back and turn the sounds down so they don't blast you guys' ears if you're using your headphones and stuff. And I'm trying to make a habit out of not talking and using the hammer at the same time, because if I turn the sound down for the hammer, you won't be able to hear me talking. So, this whole YouTube thing, I swear. Okay, we got that one out. Now, I don't know how y'all get y'all's cotter pins out, but I normally just grab a hold of them with something, whether it's needle nose pliers or whatever, and then just kind of tap on it and it comes right out. Oh, that was simple. That was simple. Look at that. Now, this is super important, y'all. For anybody that's never done this before, listen, man, do not unbolt this bolt all the way off at first. You're going to want to leave it on there. Yeah, you're not going to want to screw this one all the way off. Leave it on there. what I do is I unscrew it till the stud sticking out is about even with the top of that castle nut there. And this is really important because we're going to get in here and we're going to break that loose, and it's still under tension from that spring. That spring will go shooting out of there if you don't leave the nut intact. So just loosen it off, like I said, about even with the stud sticking out, and that's it for now. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab a bigger hammer yet again. Let's try this one. First hit. Took the light out. Oh no, man. I got to be careful with these lights. I'm down to my last one, literally just about. So you can actually see we separated. Nice. That saved the day, because without that, that would have shot out. So now what do you want to do? Well, we're going to throw a jack right underneath this lower control arm, and we're going to support the weight on that. Then we'll come in and take the nut off. So now with the jack underneath it, we kind of raised it up enough to get some of the tension off of this. So now we can just come right here and unscrew this. Alrighty, now we can just drop the jack down. And this is the part where you should tie this spring in. You could take and wrap a chain around it, ratchet strap or something. So that would be the safe way to do it. I'm not going to do that. If you're more comfortable with it, with the chain and all that, go for it, man. I highly recommend it. I did it that way for a long time. I should probably be doing it that way now. I guess we'll find out here right about now. Let's see. Yeah, man, nothing to worry about except tearing up this brake line. Okay, let's get it jacked back up. I don't want to mess up my brake line. Well, it looks like I got a little more chiseling to do. I would never get a socket or anything on that, that's for sure. That's got big old chunks on it. Well, let's see if we can get this one off now. It wasn't too bad. And yeah, before anybody asks, it did have a cotter pin in it, but I just didn't feel like making the whole video about getting that one damn pin out, because I coulda. Because it's being that difficult, I'll tell you what. Alright, so we got our pickle fork in there. Let's see if we can't beat this damn thing apart. Boy, this one's fighting. Helps if you hit it. Finally, whoo! Starting to wonder there for a second. All right, let's get this off of here. Just to give you an idea of the condition of this stuff, I mean, it is all super floppy around. Every last bit of it is just wore completely out. Well, okay, I think we're going to pull the upper and lower control arm off now. Before I take this upper off, it's got these spacers in it. This is how the alignment guide lines up the front end. You see these here, over here. So in case you don't know, you're new at this, you'll most likely want to count how many spacers are in there so that you could put it back the way it was before you took it apart. And then that'll get you in the ballpark so that you can get it down to the alignment guy, and then it could be his problem after that. So yeah, you can see I just wrapped a little masking tape around them just to kind of help hold them together so they don't just fall out and then we lose count of them. I'm going to mark them left front, since this is the left side of the vehicle, and that's the front one obviously, and then we'll do left rear, and then we will put these back in exactly the way they came out. This top one's going to come off pretty easy. We'll just flip it up like that, take these two bolts out. Alright. And we'll just get these, put them somewhere where we can keep track of them, clean everything up. We'll put all that back together. But for now, let's take the bottom one off. One thing holding these bottom ones on, it's got these little U-bolts right here. A couple of bolts up front and some more on the rear back there. We'll have these out of here. I've already hosed everything down with the WD-40, so everything's coming apart pretty good. Crack them loose with a hammer kind of helps. Keep from busting your knuckles. We're just about to have this thing torn completely apart. All we have to do after this is, I think, a pitman arm and an idler arm. Have to kind of shake it around a little bit, tap on it with a hammer or something. Sometimes they got a lot of grease and stuff on them holding it together. Get a little build up in there. Anyway, there you see it, man. We got this side pretty well tore down. We got to get this other pitman arm and everything off. The idler arm, all that stuff's got to come off. Let's pull this out, see what we're working with here. You can see it's really floppy, so you know it's wore out. This feels kind of loose, not a lot of resistance going on there. So yeah, I think we're doing good by replacing all this. What do y'all think? Not to mention, this is a great opportunity to get in here and clean this stuff up, either by pressure washer, wire wheel, or what have you. Yeah, man, this stuff's going to look nice, all cleaned up and spray painted and put back together. To be honest, it's actually my favorite part. That is a big cotter pin right there. Boy, look at the size of that thing. Sometimes you just take your needle nose, stick it right in the hole, right there on the end of that cotter pin, and just tap these things right on out. There, like that. And to me, this one was actually way too big, and somehow they got it crammed in there. We'll replace that with something else, most likely. Let's get our fork in there. There, finally. Put up a little bit of a fight, but it did come loose. Now let's get this one off. This isn't exactly the ideal situation here. I think I need like a 2-jaw puller, but all I have is a 3. So it's a little awkward, but I think it's coming loose. Yeah, it is. Luckily, this arm has not been on there very long. It was actually replaced not long ago, I was told, so I was hoping that was going to slide off of there pretty easy, and it did. So this next piece actually bolts to the side of the frame there. See, there's got a couple of bolts that go all the way through. You'll just put your wrench on the inside. I've already got one on the inside, and then we'll hit the impact on the outside and it should come right off of there. Alrighty. Now, this is not the easiest to get to because I got fuel lines and stuff in the way, but you can eventually wiggle that wrench up in there. And I'm doing it blindly, so bear with me. I think I've got it. Alrighty. Wasn't too bad. So since we went ahead and cracked all this loose with the fork before pulling it off, before pulling the 2 bolts out, now we can just come along and just take all of this apart. You see there? Come back over here and pull this all off since we already cracked it loose. We got this one and then this one here. This one should slide right off of here now. Yeah, like it. Alrighty, y'all, so I think I'm just going to cruise right on through this side. I'll check in with you guys in a minute. This will all be tore down. There it is. So I managed to get this side tore down, and yeah, somebody's definitely been working on this side. Not only did they replace this top one, I believe they replaced this one because it's there, it's solid, it's actually still good, but we're going to go ahead and throw a new one in it anyway. Couldn't help but notice this upper ball joint on this side has been replaced. You see how it's got bolts in it? This is the one off the driver's side. You see how it's got these smooth rivets That means that other one with the nuts on it has actually been replaced, and this one hasn't yet. That's how they came from the factory, for those of you that didn't know. We'll actually have to grind those off with a grinder and punch them out. And then the new one will bolt in just like this one did. You guys are going to say that was fake. One whack with a hammer, that thing came right out. Ah, nice. All right, that's all we needed right there. And we can remove this one, clean everything up, spray paint everything, install our new parts. So far, this is going pretty damn smooth. I'm kind of scared, actually. I'm waiting for a hang up and I just ain't found one yet. I'm just going to grind the heads of those off, and then I'm going to punch it out with my air hammer. Usually works pretty good. Yeah, see, once the head of it disappears, you could just take this and punch it right on through. It only takes about 30 seconds, believe it or not, to buzz that big old rivet off of there. Just using an 80 grit flapper disc works pretty good. There it is. Now we just got to do it 3 more times. Luckily, we may have mentioned earlier, somebody's already replaced the passenger side, so we don't even have to do that one. Just unbolt it and bolt the new one in. All right, there's the old one. So yeah, all you youngins out there that may have never done this before, man, this is just how simple it is. You just grind them old rivets out, get them out of the way. Then this new piece is just going to bolt right on, right in its place. Leave all the bolts loose until you get them all in. Suppose that would be probably about the biggest helpful tip I could give you, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Because if you go in, I've seen a lot of young guys do this. They'll go in and they'll put a bolt in and they'll tighten it before they get the other bolts in, and then they can't get the other bolts in. And then they're back to loosening it right back off again. So yeah, man, this is just how simple this is. We'll get this installed, and then obviously we got to put our greaser in. We'll get all this tightened up, and that right there is just how simple it is to replace a ball joint in one of these older GM vehicles. All right, so next we got to replace this. Before we actually screw these on the end of here, I want to grease them up a bit. I think that'll help it thread onto here a little bit easier. Don't forget these grease zerks too. Be one on each end. Well, there it is, a little bit of spray paint in all the right places, and I went ahead and slammed it back together. Obviously a reverse process of everything I just showed you, so I didn't feel I'd bore you with too much of that. But anyway, she's running good. Little tag insurance, stuff like that, and we'll be able to take this one down the road. That's pretty healthy. So we got a bit of a problem. I came out this morning to no brakes on my scrapping truck. That's not going to work. I've actually got a load of scrap I need to go get in, and I have no brakes. So this could have been way worse. I guess it could have happened out on the road. So the fact that it happened here, I feel pretty blessed for. So, but anyway, I got to get this in there and get this thing up and going again. Any of you guys ever lose your brakes while out running around? Kind of sketchy, huh? Yeah, I do feel pretty fortunate that this happened right here in the driveway. So hey y'all, I thought I'd take a second to give you a little update on the scrapping side of things. For those of you who don't know, I do scrap on the side, and mostly construction. I've been getting a lot of construction companies that are having me come by and pick things up. This right here came off of a Chick-fil-A,
in town. it's ginormous, y'all. I might have bit off a little more than I could chew on this one, but this was a working unit. They said it weighs about 1,200 pounds, and I was like, yeah, sure, throw it in the back of the truck. It's all there. Well, okay, that's all that's left of it there. We got our compressors over here. Big old bucket of nice clean copper, all kinds of wiring. Some of y'all probably didn't expect me to go this far with it, but yeah, I went ahead and just dismantled that entire thing. We got the compressors out, we've got the A coils and the condensers and everything. And looky here, I even went through and cut all the little copper noodles off the sides of these condensers and the A coils and everything. You know, there's the heating portion of the you know, the furnace and everything like that, because remember, this thing was a heater and an air conditioning, a full contained unit. And I went ahead and I broke it down about as far as you could go, I guess. So now's the fun part. I'm going to take it into town and see how much we get for it. So sticking with the theme of trying to get things done, tying up loose ends and what have you, I think it's time we put this old girl back together. Yeah, what we have here, in case you're new to the channel, is a 1959 Dodge Coronet that I basically stripped down to the bare metal, the entire car, did all the rust repair, and then repainted it back its original two-tone colors. And then that's where we left off. I think it's time we get back on it, kind of reintroduce it to some of our new subscribers and give closure to some of our original subscribers. You know, it's funny, even though we had this covered up, look how dusty it is. Wow. If you haven't seen those videos, go check them out. I made a nice playlist on this car, and yeah, you can actually see us take this thing all the way down to the bare metal, all by hand, one panel at a time. We didn't have it sandblasted or any of that. We just used sanders and grinders and all that good stuff. And then went through and did all those patch panels. And I mean, this thing, the rocker panels were ate out. The quarter panels were ate up with rust. And we fixed all of that. Some of you guys were telling me you'd like me to put together a really in-depth video on how to do paint and body. Just kind of showing you guys what I know. For those of you who don't know, I did it in a shop for quite a while. So I do know the steps. I've been sharing that with you guys for years. I'd like to do another one of those on another project perhaps, so stay tuned for that. But for any of you that haven't seen these videos, go check them out, man. It's a pretty decent little playlist, if I do say so myself. We got some serious cleanups gonna have to get done on this. And what a huge loose end to have off the list, man. I mean, I think that would be great. So I think the first order of business would be to throw about as much masking tape as we could spare all around these edges. I know this stuff could be pricey, so just use the old cheap stuff. If you want, I know I don't like using my real good tape for this, so all the 3M stuff stays in the cabinet, and we just use the old cheap stuff for now on this. That bumper's huge, as y'all probably remember. Most of y'all see me take this thing apart, and man, we will knock the paint right off of these edges before we even know it. So I'm gonna cover all these up, but I'm gonna get excessive with it, man. This old cheap tape is definitely cheaper than trying to repaint the car. I mean, come on, man. We got a lot of work into this. We do not want to mess it up, so that ought to do it. Okay, so I got most of my pieces here. Bumper, obviously. Then we got these bumperettes with the marker lights, signal lights in there. A lot of brackets. If I remember right, the grill goes in first on this, and I've got it over here, but I need to shine it up and make some repairs. So I've been going over the grill with some polish. This is what it started out looking like. And then I got over to this side. You can see it's brightening it up pretty good. It's just some white diamond metal polish, just something I picked up at Walmart. Not very expensive at all. I'm just using my little mini buffer here and just kind of going over it, and that's just one pass. Seems to be working out all right. We're making a mess, but whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and get this other half done, and then the repair I need to make is on the, you see here it's got these studs. Well, it's supposed to have some studs sticking out, and they're broke off on both sides, so I figured we would just grind that flush, drill a hole in it, and put a screw of some sort in there. Problem solved, right? I don't think it'll be too big of an issue, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a little more polishing and then get to that. Now we could just put some sort of a trim screw in there and it'll be fine. I don't believe, if I remember right, you don't actually see any of this once we put the headlight bezels and everything in. So I was pretty organized when I took this thing all apart. Everything got labeled. Here we go. We got like stuff for the doors, stuff for the bottom of the windshield, grill. Now, the way I remember it, the front end of this was about the hardest part to take apart and put back together. Everything else was actually pretty easy, pretty straightforward. This is just, the only complicated part about it, I should say, is just making sure you do everything in the right order. There's those two studs that broke off that we just ground down. We don't need those anymore. All we need is this stuff right here. Okay, let's get this in here. I'm pretty sure this is the first piece, if I remember right, which there is a good chance that I don't. But we're gonna find out. Get this one started. Okay. Looks like there's going to be one over here, and there's some along the bottom, and then of course the one we drilled out on each corner. That should be plenty to hold this thing on. Takes care of a broken stud issue. That was a pretty simple repair. Now I'll go through and tighten up all the rest of them and we'll be done with this part. That's a lot of bolts holding that one little flimsy piece of metal in, if you ask me. But hey, it shouldn't go nowhere, that's for sure. Almost forgot this one. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of bolts in there. Okay, so I've been messing with this a little bit off camera, trying to remember how this bracket right here, this is the one that throws me for the loop. I can't remember exactly, but I think that goes on like that, right? Just leave that right there, and then the bumper will slip over that, and then you put the nuts back on like that, and then you have this other one that comes through over here. I think it goes through one of these. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. You know, I would go back and watch one of the old videos where I took this thing apart, but I'm just not gonna put myself through that. So I'm gonna sit here and mess with this for who knows how long until I figure it out. But I think I'm on the right track. I think I am. I know that these two go together somehow. Good Lord mercy, what have I got myself into? If I remember right, this one's gonna come through here like so. Maybe it was this one. And they meet up over here like this. Something like that. I don't know. I'll keep messing with it. Get us some nuts started on here so it don't fall off. And I don't want it to tip or rock or anything while it's up next to that fender, because mess up our paint. Even though we did put our protective tape on there, I don't want to take any chances. Dude, she's looking mean already, man. I forgot how good it looks with all the stuff on it. And automatically it looks lower to the ground and everything. That's automatic attitude adjustment. Look at that right there. That's just the first two pieces, y'all. I think this goes around over here like so, ties into the other bracket,
And then it's got one of the smooth little chrome bumper bolts that goes in from the side, ties that all together. This piece, it went off down in here somewhere. Maybe it was like this. I believe it went on. Well, we'll have to figure that out in a minute. It's got some studs sticking out. We may have to unscrew those studs to get that piece on there. For now, let's get this one tied in with our smooth bumper bolt here. So right here we got to go through 3 layers, through the bumper, through the hole in these, both of these brackets. So we got to get this all to line up just right. Okay, that actually didn't seem to be too bad. The trick to all of this, I think I mentioned it earlier, is just to leave all the bolts loose at first until you get everything started. Once you get them all started, then you could go back, kind of line everything up and start tightening things. But if you tighten up your bolts as you go, you'll definitely end up getting to a bolt where the hole won't line up and you won't be able to move anything around. You'll just be kind of stuck trying to get that to go in. It's never any fun, right? Yeah, this is what I was talking about a minute ago. It's got that stud sticking out, so I can't slide my bracket down in there, but it does unscrew. So we'll get that out of the way and that'll slide right into place. And then we could go through and put our stud back in and then put the bolts in too. The nuts, the bolts, all that good stuff. Here's where the next one goes. Just like that. A couple of these in there. Again, we'll leave them loose for now. Then we'll get over there and get the other side. We'll do everything we just did to this side on the other side, and then we'll start tightening everything. We got the front fascia piece on there. Now we're going to do the headlight bezel. Pretty simple, just got 2 little screws at the bottom here. Easy enough, right? For the fun part, I think I've got this figured out. This should just slip right down in there like that. The main thing is to not pinch up this wire. It is like right next to the mounting bracket. I don't want to pinch the wire in there. But yeah, I think I got it right there. That's how it's going to be. Let me get some stuff started so it don't fall out of here as soon as I let go of it, right? This isn't so bad once you remember the right sequence. You get anything out of turn, you're screwed. You gotta start over. The last 2 bolts going in, and we can start tightening everything down. And of course we'll straighten everything, make sure all the gaps look right as we go, and then we'll crank it on down, and that'll be the end of this. Putting on some more trim pieces here. Got that, and then we've got the center piece here. Oh, that's really, well, I got it upside down, but yeah, that is really gonna set that off. There's stuff falling all over the place. If I were smart, I would have put these on first, but I thought these just clicked right on. Luckily, they just got these little speed nuts that go right on the back side of it. These right here, they go on pretty easy. And we actually have room behind there to get to it, amazingly enough. So we dodged a bullet there. Otherwise, we would have had to pull these back off, which wouldn't have been that big of a deal. We would have had to pull well, I think we could have left the bezels on and just pulled some of these screws out right here, pulled that off, and wouldn't have been the end of the world, but we did dodge the bullet. Get this piece on there. That looks awesome, y'all. It really does. Look at that. Ah, that is great. Throw the hood ornament on, and then we'll go look for those eyebrow pieces to go over the headlights. This piece here, I believe they're in the trunk. We're gonna find out. Alright, I did in fact find the eyebrow moldings. Slip these on. These are a little tricky because we got to get in behind here and put the little speed nuts on the back side, so we got to get all the way up in behind here at the top of the fender, so we'll go in from this way. Luckily they gave us plenty of room inside there. Shouldn't be too big of an issue. So hey, what do y'all think? I think it looks totally different from before. Far cry from what we've been looking at for the past few years. I got so used to seeing it without all this that I'm just kind of blown away seeing it all back on there again. Actually, very motivating. I think we'll attack some door handles, some side trim. Go ahead and probably just go ahead and throw all the rest of it on there on the next video. I don't anticipating on it being too difficult. This right here, like I mentioned before, was definitely the hardest part, and it's all done now. So yeah, about a mile of side trim to go, not to mention all the moldings that go around the front and the back windshield. This back bumper is super easy, literally 4 bolts, no crazy bracketry or anything like that like we had on the front bumper, so that'll be super easy. I think we're off to a pretty good start. We've got that one dialed in, ready to go home just about. This one here, we've got it down to just trim and windshield moldings. Not too bad, y'all. Those will be 2 big accomplishments having those done. Getting quite a hoopty fleet going on out here, y'all. Look at this. I know some of y'all are wondering about the 066, and well, you know what? We're going to be getting back on it pretty soon. It needs a starter, so I'm going to put one of those on it so I could drive it in and out of the shop again. I'm getting kind of tired of dragging it. For anybody that doesn't know about this truck, this is a 66 Chevy 1-ton sitting on a 76 Chevy 1-ton frame. And well, we did a lot of work, man. We widened the bed so that it has a dually bed now from a step-side bed. In my opinion, it's the bed that GM should have made but never did. And well, anyway, we'll be getting back on that one real soon. The Fury is over here. She's all right. She's got a flat tire right now, but we'll be getting back on that one real soon. In fact, we've got this one down to where a set of tires, a windshield. This one's just about ready to go too. I need a tire hookup in the worst way. Yeah, that reminds me. This one's going to need tires too. 6 of them, in fact. Oh, man. Any tire companies want to sponsor a guy? Hey, don't forget to check me out on Facebook. You'll get a notification every time I put a video out over there, just in case YouTube doesn't notify you. You guys please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here.